My name is Stephanie, and I'd like to begin by reading to you an excerpt from The Proust and the Squid. This book is required reading in the certificate course for dyslexia at UF. Chapter 1. We were never born to read. Human beings invented reading only a few thousand years ago. And with this invention, we rearranged the very organization of our brain, which in turn expanded the ways we were able to think, which altered the intellectual evolution of our species. Reading is one of the single most remarkable inventions in history. I love that passage, and I love also that the first time that I read that passage was actually by listening to it on an audiobook. As a dyslexic myself, in preparation for this course, I researched to find as many of the books on audio as I could. So I would highly recommend this book on audio if you're interested. I got it through Audible. Also, in thinking of this particular assignment, the word flight plan connected for me in that listening to the audio book, The Proust and the Squid, because I also thought, wow, flying is another activity, something that we humans do that we were certainly never born to do. So I thought that was a neat connection, and I could also launch the introduction of myself by talking about a flight plan. To me, when I thought about that, I thought a flight plan really is saying where you start from and then where you're headed and all the steps along the way that you're going to take to get there. So I would say my flight plan began with a love for teaching as a little girl. I loved school. School was a happy place for me, even as a dyslexic. Importantly, that was because I think I was at a small school and I had a loving family. My teachers knew me and they did everything they could back in the 70s, late 70s and early 80s, to help me feel empowered to keep trying, keep working hard, even when things were hard for me. So I had that blessing, and I fell in love with teaching, school and teaching, and wanted to be a teacher, even from the time I was a little girl. So that led me to studying education in college and being prepared to be a teacher and entering the field and the profession of education in the mid-90s. I realize now, very importantly, how I was missing still even, some critical pieces of preparation to be an effective teacher of reading especially. My hope is, in participating in this course, that I gain very important skills and understanding to reach better the children that need our help desperately with this fundamental skill that we humans have developed to be successful. So the key parts of that for me is, one of my goals is to become better at, most importantly, screening and identifying children at risk for reading struggles in school. This, I firmly believe, can happen early, should happen early, and I want to be part of that in my own small school community. My husband recently retired from a 28-year career in the military, and we've come back home as a family to Florida, to my hometown, and I have the very beautiful privilege of teaching at that same small school where I first fell in love with learning. And if I can be part of that important step in screening and identifying better students who need our help, that will be a beautiful result of this course for me. Also, I want to not just do that initial step well. I want to then be educated and be trained in effective interventions that are doable to implement in the classroom setting and with limited resource support. So right now, my specific role at the school I teach is primary resource teacher, which means that I serve grades K1 and 2 in the capacity of support to the classroom teacher in both a push in and pull out situation, specifically working with students who are struggling in the language arts. To do that well, to have every minute of my time that I'm able to be with a student be purposeful and effective, I need to be better trained in the interventions that are available, that are research-based, and that are designed with the ability for me to focus in, address those needs, and even communicate that well with the classroom teachers and with parents who are also part of this team of support. I do think it is a tragedy in this research that we've done recently in this course, where I realized that 60% of our fourth graders are struggling to be proficient readers. And if I can be, if we all can be part of that solution that is desperately needed to address that issue, I want to be part of that. For me also, I hope and I see myself primarily as an advocate for these students, for these families, not only in those moments where I am working with the child at school, but also in helping families navigate the law and their rights, and understanding that myself. I truly feel called. I truly feel called to this mission. I love being a teacher. I love books. In thinking about making this video, which I'll admit makes me nervous, I thought I'm going to put things with me, behind me, that give me joy and give me comfort. And for me, that a lot of times in my life has been books, has been a story. It's built relationship with my own children. It's built relationship in a classroom in the most beautiful way. So the books behind me, even though I realized in doing a couple run-throughs of this that I certainly don't have time to talk about them, I hope have provided an interesting backdrop to a few key points that I feel like I wanted to make in this presentation. Reading is, I'll leave you with this thought, a health issue, an education issue, an economic issue. It's an issue of the spirit and the self-worth of the children that we work with. So thank you very much. I see a reading community as an empowered community, and I'm excited to be part of this calling and this mission.